Hello, this is Dr. Tae, and today's episode is not your regular health information. I live in state of New York, in New York City to be exactly. I live in Queens, the county of Queens, and there was a murder 3 days ago of a CEO for UnitedHealthcare. His name is Brian Thompson, and he was shot, I believe, around 6 o'clock in the morning. It was the day of the tree lighting ceremony in Manhattan, a few blocks away from there, and he was shot in the back, once in the leg, killing him. And I gotta hand it over to the NYPD. They're really like shining right now because like they found footages of before the murder, of the murder, and after the murder. And this guy appeared in Starbucks buying some bottle of water. They found the garbages that this guy left behind. They found the footages all around the city of where this guy was heading, including the backpack that this guy was wearing. And then they found the backpack in Central Park. They also found the where he was staying. He had a fake ID from Jersey. He took some sort of bus system from like Georgia to New York several days like before this murder took place. Then they are assuming that this guy's out. They don't have a name. They don't have a motive. But the bullets, the shell casing that the rounds were shot, had the word deny, delay, and some other word I forget. And that kind of gives a motive to like the reason behind. And this is all like speculation that perhaps he was murdered for all of the denials that UnitedHealthcare has done, and it sheds light to what Brian Thompson, to why he was murdered. Now, this is the real thing. Number one, I don't want to see anyone get murdered by a gun. Period. We live in a civil society. The guy's got a wife and 2 kids, so I don't condone any type of this type of violence, right? And then I'm not going to quote anybody from, but the general consensus is the online reaction is that this guy had it coming, and perhaps this is a wake up call to all health insurance companies. And I did digging outside of what the mainstream media is trying to cover right now, which is the murder of the CEO, and they're trying to find the assassin. But one of the things that I found is that this picture right here. Okay, this guy. There's a story about chronically ill patient. This guy, he was covered, and he was denied services from UnitedHealthcare, and the medication he was on, it was working, but because his medication were costing a lot of money, so what did they do? They just denied him. And I found this other article here, where they talk about the denial rate from the time that Brian Thompson took in charge. The denial rate went from 1.4 to 12.6, which is about 9 times. And they pretty much denied healthcare services for anybody who went through a stroke, which is like a heart attack that occurs in the brain where something pops and the brain cells begin to die. And I have patients who are coming in for care for. It's like one of the worst things way to happen because to get a stroke and you're debilitated and your family's got to take care of you, and if they don't have the money, but if they had insurance and you're not getting the proper care to at least gain some sort of independence to even walk, and United Healthcare is just denying. And according to some of this article, they got an AI to automatically deny, and the profits that United Healthcare got went from 12 billion to 16 billion in 2023. And Brian Thompson got 10.2 million as a total compensation for that year. Now that's a lot of money. And if he's doing a great job, then why not? And it goes to give, you know, the ethics of these things. Should people be cared for the things that you pay for? And I believe absolutely yes. And that there's so many different plans out there. There's plans for people who get into an emergency situation. Then there's people who get primary care access, and there's copays and all of these things. And you get what you pay for. But if you pay for a good health insurance, you should be getting the care that you really need and deserve. After all, you're paying for it, right? And although we do not know exactly the motive behind or the justification of this guy getting assassinated 6 o'clock in the morning in the streets of New York, he was apparently visiting for some sort of conference. And a lot of people are reacting that this guy had it coming. And that's just the way I'm just going to say it is, because he was denying so much care. And this goes to the bullet casing having the word deny, delay, and there was one other word that I forget. And more than anything, if you look here, they found the backpack. This is Brian Thompson. This is him getting murdered in the morning. They found him traveling from Atlanta, coming to New York. The NYPD, oh my God, they're really doing their job, and I hope that they catch this guy. But I hope what the media should be doing right now is to really investigate and help bring to light what's going on in the United Healthcare system. Are they really trying to deny care to increase profits and deny the healthcare that the people are paying for? Because if that's what's going on, and to be honest with you, the U.S. Senate is investigating UnitedHealthcare, and this is, you know, and this is an article from BBC Today that more and more people's protest against UnitedHealth Group is increasing since this past summer, because they saw this wave of denials in the past several years. Okay, now this is the news that everybody knows. Okay, so I'm just repeating what everyone. Now, as a healthcare provider, as an acupuncturist, yeah, I'm not gonna name which, insurance companies. Man, I used to be in network with this insurance company. I did my job. People would come in. I would do the billing. They would pay. It was great. Then in California, this network took over this insurance company. And next thing I know, the acupuncturist Facebook group in California, they started posting how horrible the takeover was because they're not getting paid. And then that group took over the insurance company that I was in network with. And let's just say, like last year or this past year, I treated 7 patients hoping that they would pay, and they didn't. And I wrote all these notes, provided the care, and all of these things. And yeah, the patients were upset. I was upset. And now I'm in a position where I got to tell this insurance company, people who have this insurance, they come into my office and say, I'm no longer in network, and I will not accept any patients with this insurance company, and I refuse to provide paperwork. I'll give them a receipt, but once they submit it themselves, I'm prompted to, double check my notes, print them out, hand it over to my patient, which takes, really time outside of me treating. And I'm sick of it. And I think I started telling people, look, you have this insurance company, you can bill it, but I'm not going to give you any paperwork anymore. If you do, I got to charge you for my time to provide you these things, because it's not going to get anywhere. And I don't want to keep on working extra hours that is not going to pay my patients who are covered for insurance and so forth. And that sucks, because they're saying, oh yeah, this patient is covered, but they refuse to pay the practitioner. There's that end. And this is a very sad state of affairs for healthcare. There's so much aggravation that I can talk about my experience working with insurance. The best thing is I'll talk about Blue Cross Blue Shield. They're one of the best companies. I'm in network with them. Patients come in, I treat, I write my notes, we bill, they pay, and we charge them for their copay, and that's the way it should be. And people with Blue Cross Blue Shield, they like coming here for those reasons, and we continue to treat and provide care. That's the way it should be. Now, writing up the cases and trying to prove that this patient needs more care so that we could get 8 sessions approved, and them taking forever so that the patient can't come back until they get that letter, and they're in the middle of care, and they're regressing while they're not getting care, waiting for the approval. That's a nightmare to deal with. That's a nightmare for the providers wanting to get paid, and that's a nightmare situation for the patients to get the care that they want, that they're paying for. One of the solutions that I do put forth is that Gen Z, I'm talking to you guys, Gen Z and the alpha generation that is up and coming. If you guys want to provide some sort of ethical company to do these things, is look at the model of UnitedHealthcare and how that system works, and then start a nonprofit organization where there is no profit motive for the company, but for the purpose of providing the care that people really need. And I think that is the right way to get America healthy. And I think that is a very important thing. The number one killer in the United States is, once again, heart disease. And that coincides with stroke, in my professional opinion, because clogging the arteries due to bad diet and obesities, yes, it causes diabetes. It does cause heart attack. But a stroke is a brain attack. And a lot of these things, I mean, if you're eating horrible 7 days of the week and you're taking medication to lower your blood pressure, I don't think that's really doing it. You got to really change the diet of the American healthcare system. And I believe that starts in school. The people who are contracted with school, they need to provide healthier foods, not this industrialized food systems. If you look at Korea, I mean, some of you may have watched the Netflix cooking show where these hundreds of chefs come together and they're cooking, and then this Michelin star chef and then some business guy who's got restaurants all around the world. They're tasting your food, and then they say you failed, you pass, and they find the best chef. And one of the ladies that entered the competition, she was a chef for kids, and she cooked really healthy foods. We're talking like, I mean, they'll never advertise it that way, but if I was to talk about her food, she was providing, fermented food for the microbiome in the gut. They had all the spectrums of vitamin A through the amino acid content that she was cooking, plus the mineral content of the vegetables that was there, and it had protein. And this is the type of food that I would want children to eat in this country. Instead of milk, bread, pizza, pasta, bologna sandwich, chocolate milk, and schools vending machines having sodas and things like that. And no wonder why we're having all of these healthcare issues. Now, this is the very culture that needs to change in our in the school. But at the same time, we cannot put all the blame into the system. The people have to take responsibility for themselves as well. Like, we just finished Thanksgiving. They fry food, all these things, and all these people on the YouTube channels showing their recipes. Most people do not show healthy recipes. Like, look at Uncle Roger, the guy, he is famous for the fried rice video. This guy, he's like, oh, in a funny way, he's like, you should put MSG because this has flavor. If you look at MSG and what it does to the human body, it's horrific. Like, lab rats, there are no obese lab rats in order to test obese medication. So what do? They inject them with MSG, and these rats, they start gaining weight in a very big way. And if you look at their organs before and after the MSG injections, your organ starts failing really, really fast. Now, the dosages that they give to human beings is in small amounts, but if you eat a bag of chips with MSG in it, guess what? You're eating the whole bag because your hunger portions are not being stimulated properly, and therefore you end up eating the whole bag and wanting to eat more. So all of this is tied together. So one, the system's not going to change fast enough. The only thing that's going to change fast enough is the culture that you want to change. Yes, exercise and diet is the way to go, but you have to start moving forward looking up healthy recipes. On a future video, I will post up a healthy recipe. We're all in this together. All right. Give some prayers to the people who are affected by this. What is that? The families of this guy Brian Thompson. I feel bad for his family, but also let's think about the people who are getting denied care. And I hope UnitedHealthcare wakes up and gives people what they deserve, especially if they're paying for it. That's a real big shame on UnitedHealthcare and other insurance companies that are doing it. I hope this is a wake-up call for America to really set this thing straight. And Robert F. Kennedy, if you're watching this, I look forward to your what changes you will bring. I'm really looking forward to a lot of these positive changes. All right, having said all of this, sorry for the long rant. Hit like, subscribe. It really helps the algorithms. Currently, I have tens and tens and tens of followers for the whole year, but I'm having a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys out there. Take care. Bye-bye.